Hello and welcome back to yet another video. I am your host, Passport Nomad, and today I would like to share a story with you. And before I get into the story, I would like to ask you at this time, if this is your first time here, subscribe, like, and keep up on all my latest posted content. Plus, if you have any stories about your travel experiences anywhere or would like to share your story, please send it to me at passportnomad17@gmail.com. I will share your story on this YouTube channel, and if you wish to remain anonymous, I will respect your privacy without sharing your name. With that said, let's get into today's story. The story I'm about to share comes from a personal experience of my own. So, I'm going to get right into it. When I had first arrived here in the Philippines in Manila, as I had made my plans to move here, I was looking around and searching for a good place to rent, like a condo. And as I was there searching, I stayed at a small hotel paying about 1,000 pesos per day for long stays. It was in the area by the airport in one of my other videos of Terminal 4. So I would often meet with other foreigners there, staying in and around the surrounding hotels, as well as the one I was staying at. I recall meeting an older gentleman from the UK there about my second month staying there. I won't mention his name, but let's just call him Mr. E for now. You know, when you first come into the country and you've been here a while, you start to gravitate towards anything familiar to you, such as other foreigners from your own country or those English-speaking countries that speak your own language. Well, this guy, I met him at a nearby coffee shop around the hotel area. He seemed well dressed, clean cut, and liked to flash his money often. We had a conversation, come to find out that he was a businessman, as he had just bought a hotel and a bar in Palawan. He took a quick liking to me, as we would often meet up at the same coffee shop on a daily basis to have coffee. However, at this time on and more, I saw him and he would always insist on paying for my coffee, which I thought was generous of him at first. He liked to talk about his business all the time, and he would say to me things like he was so excited about it. Then he wanted me to come with him to Palawan just so he could show it to me, his business. I had not been in country long at all and still wanted to set up a place to live first before going island jumping. He would then try to talk me out of staying in Manila and come with him to Palawan all the time. He bragged constantly about how much better it was there where his business was. So I told him, okay, I will come out to see his business next time he was to come back. Mr. E liked to fly back and forth from the UK to Dubai to Manila like every 3 months. While we was in the Philippines, this guy liked to jump from one Filipina to the next. He wasn't a very loyal man, as you would call him. He liked to date plenty different girls at once. It had become clear to me at this time, that this guy liked to sleep around with many women. I would even try to advise him from time to time to be careful, but he always would shrug it off. And then one day he admitted to me that he had caught 2 STDs already in the Philippines. Now I looked at this guy like he was a really horny dog. He would take me out with him to local bars and nightclubs, and he always would have a different Filipina with him too. I just minded my business when it came to the amount of women he was sleeping with and his relationships with these women. He had to leave to go back to the UK and would say when he returns that he would take me with him to the Palawan. Whenever he would come back, he wanted to, he would never give me a precise date or time. He'd just show up, give me a call and say, hey, let's go out. Let's go out to have a drink. So I didn't think much about it first. He would always like to go out to local bars to drink. More than a few occasions, it seemed as though he was trying to get me drunk, which I told him over and over again, I don't like to drink to get drunk. Plus, the more we went out, the more he didn't want me to pay for anything. So I would wonder, what's this guy's angle? I don't like owing anyone anything, that's just me. Well, anyway, a few months would pass until I would see him again. And he would call me up and be like, let's go out. Once again, he wanted to pay for everything again. He took me to some bar in a downtown area of McLaren. Little did I know this place had bar girls working in it. Now, I heard the stories and knew well enough to know not to fall in love with any bar girl. But anyway, he wasn't talking to any of the bar girls either, and that kind of shocked me. Then later on, he was joined by yet another Filipina, one of his Filipina girlfriends. He got one girl from the bar to come over to the table just to give me some company. However, the girl spoke very little English and couldn't understand anything I was saying without using a translator on her phone. Mr. E would start ordering drinks for everyone around the table on repeat, and he started to ask for hard liquor shots all around. I started to get concerned and told him, hey, look, I would pay for my own drinks. However, that would upset him as he consisted on, paying for everything. So as the night went on, I was getting pretty wasted. The bar girl that was with me was so drunk she could hardly stand. So her manager came and got her to go rest upstairs. As we was getting ready to leave, the final bill came out to the table and he started to go off saying, this doesn't look right. The bill came out to be so high that he became frustrated. I told him it was because he kept buying the ladies' drinks. The girl that was with me worked for the bar, so they consider that a ladies' drink here, and that price for that drink increases 3 to 4 times compared to a normal drink. He was still frustrated and wanted to go to the nearest ATM to withdraw more money. He gave his Filipina a nice handful of 1,000 bill pesos and told her to count it for him while he went to look for the ATM machine. While he was gone, I'm sitting right across from her as she's counting all the money, and then she tells me, I'll be back. I have to go to the restroom. She had the biggest smile on her face when she got up and ran into the restroom. So, there I am sitting, enjoying my last drink, ready to leave. She came back quickly and sat in her seat just as Mr. E came walking back into the establishment. He was still a little frustrated about how much the bill was. I offered to pay for my drinks and the ladies' drinks for the girl that was sitting with me earlier, but he normally tried to refuse again. Although secretly, I did pay for those drinks earlier because I saw what was happening. Either way, we left the bar and we're waiting outside to catch our grab. When the driver came, we all got in. His girlfriend sat in the front seat next to the driver, and he's in the back with me. We noticed that the Filipino driver and his girlfriend had a lot to say to each other in a full-blown conversation back and forth while we drove back, and they were talking in Tagalog. Mr. E, he noticed this too. We're just a short distance from the hotel, and the driver took a longer route going onto a highway to go all the way around it just to get back to the hotel. We initially had walked to that bar from the hotel area, so that gives you some idea how close we was to it. He asked why the driver had done this. He took the route instead of, it was kind of like the driver and his girlfriend, they kind of like blew him off and continued talking to Gallo and laughing. This made Mr. E very angry and upset. I could feel the tension pouring out of him as we drove back. When we got to the hotel, as he and his girlfriend had started arguing in the car, he paid the driver and told him, "I feel as though you got over on me, man." The driver could have been quicker than that. Now, one thing I left out is earlier was that this time when he had come back, I had already moved into a condo like 2 towns away. Mr. E insisted on paying for me to stay in a hotel that night so I wouldn't have to ride back to my condo drunk in someone's car. I took him up out of his kind gesture to stay in that hotel that night. Back to the hotel area. He and his girlfriend are in a heated argument. I kind of told him to the side in private what she had did when he went to the ATM when we was back at the bar. So he tells me to wait outside in the eating area around the corner from the hotel entrance. So I sat down and waited for him, thinking he just needed some privacy to argue with his girlfriend about her behavior in the car. Well, time goes by like 30 to 45 minutes. I was tired and a bit tipsy and I needed to get some rest. I go to check on them to see what was going on. As soon as I got around the corner, I could hear them yelling at each other as they were fighting. I didn't want to get involved and decided to give them some more extra time to themselves. Well, I went back to the waiting area and eventually I passed out on the table, asleep. When I wake up, I felt someone tug at my iPhone, which I was holding in my hand, as this person was walking by away from me the opposite direction. Luckily, I had a good strong grip on that phone, or else they would have took off running with it. I am now looking around, confused, wondering, where am I? What the hell happened? Nothing was stolen, luckily, So I get up and I head back over towards the hotel area where I last saw Mr. E and his girl. They're not there. An hour had passed, and the last time I was awake, Mr. E and his girlfriend, they are now nowhere in sight. I went to the front desk area and I was just checking to see, hey, I told him, did Mr. E make any kind of arrangements for me to stay in this room tonight? They said no, he just went upstairs with his girlfriend and he never came back down the rest of the night. It's like 3 a.m. in the morning now. I was tired, a little upset. I just said, to hell with it. I will pay for the room myself because I needed to get some rest. I thought, when I wake up in the morning, I'll just have a few words with him. When I woke up in the hotel, I went back downstairs to check and see if Mr. E had come down yet. The front desk person said no, not to our knowledge. I went to go get something to eat while I was checking my phone for any messages from him. I had no messages, so I texted him to see if he was okay, but I received no response. Then after a while of waiting, I had to check out. So I called myself a Grab to go back to my condo. I left him a few messages telling him I left and got back to my condo safe, but he never sent a reply after all that. I wondered if he was upset at me for some reason, but at the same time I wondered, why did he just leave me outside like that last night and forgot about me? He didn't even check to see if I was okay. Later on, after not receiving any responses from him all day, I swung back around to the hotel just to see if he was okay. However, when I got there and I asked the front desk, if Mr. E had came back yet or came down yet. The hotel told me, yes, he came down and he checked out a few hours ago. He never called me. He never texted me. He didn't try to contact me. So I did the same in return. You know, it's crazy. You know, you meet people like that and they act like they want to be good buddies and best friends with you and everything. And but you easily forget about how could they easily forget about you and leave you out without even checking on you? At least I came back to check and see if he was okay. I was just shocked that he took off on me like that. Yes, he wasn't a perfect person, but he wasn't necessarily an all-around bad guy. He may have been a bad influence on me, if I stayed hanging around him, but I learned a good lesson from that. Not all expats can be considered your friends or real friends. Real friends look out for each other, make sure they're okay. If something had happened to him, then I would have felt bad. But the way he left me out there hanging, drunk, I'm passed out on the table, my phone almost got stolen from me. Something bad could have happened to me and he just forgot all about me. That's the part that disturbed me the most. And he didn't even bother to text, come outside, check on me or anything. Didn't even give me a call to say that, asking if I was okay, a text, something, anything. But he did nothing. So to this day, I stopped trying to contact and reach out to him. And I said, it's probably best that I leave that guy alone. So just another lesson I'm passing on from me to you about who you should keep in your company and the company you keep. Not everybody is, solely out there for the best for you. They're not thinking of you in the same way that you would think, a friend would take care of you. Well, anyway, that's the end of that story. I'm going to end this video. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this and what you would have did in that situation. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. This is your travel buddy, Passport Nomad, signing off.